Hey YouTube, someone had asked me a question on my video about my schizophrenia and was it connected to my PTSD? And that was a really good question. And no, it's not. I didn't get schizophrenia from my PTSD. And I actually know how I got it. It's a really hard thing for me to talk about, but I feel like I can share it with you and hopefully not be judged. I was raped by my dad's drug dealer before I was 5 years old, and that's a hard thing for me to talk about. But that started the PTSD, and that's also one of the main reasons why I'm so fat, because I felt like if I was fat and ugly, that no one would touch me. And I also blamed myself for the longest time because of things that were told to me and said to me during the process, and because I just blamed myself. And I could never tell my dad or my mom at the time because I blamed myself, and I was afraid that my dad would turn it around and blame me. My dad was a very bad alcoholic and druggie. So for the longest time until he died and I had to put him down, I never told anyone, not even any therapists. So it wasn't till I took his ashes to Florida to see his family, to put him off the pier, did I even tell anybody. And when I did, it exploded. And I've been coping with that ever since. And so that's where the PTSD started. Now, when I got schizophrenia, we believed that I was born with it. And of course, back then, in 1992, when I was born, no one really knew about it. So it was kind of a hard thing to get people to diagnose you with. So I was diagnosed, I don't really know when, but I started out with bipolar. And then as I got older, it got worse. The hallucinations got worse. The voices got worse. And actually, when I was in school, I had to have my own room where no one could go in except for me to get away from everything when I had these episodes. So that was kind of my sanctuary, and I would be in there for some time until the episodes would pass. So that was kind of interesting. Also, the bipolar, when I finally got to the point where I would be able to explain to people what was happening, they diagnosed it with paranoid schizophrenia. And the PTSD got worse because the hallucinations were so graphic and so horrible. And I can get into that later on if I get enough questions. That I could feel them. I could smell them. If, a demon came up and stabbed me, then I would feel it and I would see blood. So I couldn't tell the difference, which is another reason why I have a service dog, is because I can't tell the real world from the hallucinations. So, it's really hard for me to tell what's real and what's not. So, sorry I'm saying so much. I'm trying to get my thoughts together. It's really hard for me to talk about, and this is something I don't usually talk about, but I feel like it can help people. So, that progressed the PTSD. So now the PTSD is getting worse, and sometimes I go through episodes with the schizophrenia and the PTSD where I will have an episode and wander off, or I'll run away, or I won't know where I'm at. And luckily I have Sadie with me, my service dog, and she will bring me back home, or she will do pressure point therapy and bring me out of the situation quicker than it normally would last, or help me back to the right phase of mind. So, to answer the question that originally was asked, no, the schizophrenia is not part of the PTSD. They're two separate issues. So, I guess that's that. I don't know what else to say. So if you have any more questions, I'd be glad to answer them. I know this is kind of a shocker for some people, and it's a shock for me. I never thought I would do this. My mom's been trying to get me to do this ever since middle school and high school. But thank you for your question, The Biggest Loser. I appreciate it, and I appreciate everyone who's watched. It means a lot to me. Thank you. Bye.